And Phaserland joins us just before his awesome Australian tour. I've had a chance to talk to him for Mysteria Maxima Media. Hey Ross, how you going, mate?
Oh, how's it going? I am excellent. How are you doing, Marco?
I'm doing very well. It's great to have a chat to you. I'm very excited about your Australian tour.
I am so pumped to come over. You have no idea.
I did want to have an opportunity to talk to you about your awesome album, Cosmic Boundaries, that came out earlier this year. I think it's your best work yet. Very impressive stuff. Can you tell us a bit about it, please?
Oh, thanks, Marco. Absolutely. Yeah, it was a culmination of things that I wrote mostly in 2016, because it came out February this year, and that was the first time releasing with Rosso Corsa Records, and it was a kind of reflection of some of the emotions that I felt throughout the year, because I had some life changes, and so it was kind of a broad spectrum of some darker things, some lighter things, and it basically kind of represented that final step when I say cosmic boundaries. I guess it's like when it passes that threshold from like the inside of your body when you're making something and you're sharing it with somebody. It's like crossing that platform. It like becomes real when you make something. So that was the kind of the theme that I was going at. I thought that was kind of important to share. And that's cool. That step that you take, that's like some people are nervous to do, or they're sharing something the first time. So that's kind of like a cosmic boundary for me. And I think everybody has that. Not to get too existential on that point, but but it was I recorded all here in Troy, everything by myself, and yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah, and it was, like you said, it was released on Rosso Corsa Records, a very renowned synthwave label based in Canada. It must be a dream come true to be released on such an awesome label.
Oh, absolutely. I've actually been a fan of that label and the artists on that label for a long time. I remember like artists, producers like Mitch Murder and Miami Nice 1984, and back when I first started in 2013, I remember messaging them saying, I just started in the scene. I just like made like maybe 2 synthwave songs, and like I really want to be in the label. I didn't really hear anything. So as time goes on, years later, I get a message from Michael himself saying like, "Hey man, we really want you to join. I heard one of your tracks. They're freaking great." And I was like, couldn't believe it. So I couldn't pass up the opportunity, and it's growing too. Like some new artists have joined as well, so it's exciting.
Now I wanted to talk to you about probably my favorite track on the album, the opening track called Nomad City. Very impressive stuff. Is there anything at all you can tell us about the track before we play it?
Sure, yeah. That's actually the last track I wrote for the album. I had it out, and then I think it was the last, just like maybe a week or so before I thought I might release it. I had these ideas come to me, and I just put it down, and I really like the way that it sounded, like the energy of it, so I decided to put that as track number 1. But I also sampled some real police sounds from the city. So if you hear some of that banter, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to do that or not. But yeah. You can get police scanner stuff off the internet or the radio, whatever. Just I thought it had some little grit to there, some sections of the song. But I always have some of my signature guitar stuff in there as well, blending it all together. But yeah, it was the last track I made on the album, and I'm happy the way it turned out. It seemed to be like the most well perceived or well received. Perceived.
Very good stuff, Ross. Very impressive. All right, let's play it. This is Nomad City. synthwave for a while now, Ross, for about 4 or 5 years, I believe. What are some of your major influences in your music, do you think?
Well, I come from a mainly guitar background and playing in bands and things like that, and I've always been a fan of the band like Rush or like Zeppelin, and like funk bands and metal bands, hair metal bands, things like that. I come from more of I wanted to be like that technical player back in college, like bands like Dream Theater. Like I practice all my scales and stuff, and so I come from that technical side, but I've really kind of expanded my horizons into just like, hey, well, I'm gonna feel this out, let's get in the pocket, let's get this fun thing going. So I took that 80s nostalgia that I love with the synthwave, and I'm able to kind of make these melodies I hear in my head easier to transcribe them in like songs and things like that with my technical background. But yeah, and bands like like Herbie Hancock, which was like not very synthwavy, like jazz funk stuff. But I think that a lot of those earlier bands helped shape kind of like my sound that I kind of borrowed from that, I guess, and kind of made it my own little synthwave version of it. And of course, like bands like Mitch Murder, Tesla Boy, and, Highway Superstar, and Sunglasses Kid. I really got into them when I first got into the scene in LA Dreams. Those guys were around like when I first started, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. Like I want a part of this. I want this part of this action.
Because it's hard to categorize your music, I find. There's so many different influences in it, from even metal, there's guitars in it, jazz, funk, all sorts. That's what I do love about your music. There's a lot of variety throughout.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I think that the dynamics are one thing. Like I'll really feel strongly about like sounding a certain way one day, and then I'll hear something and get moved by like a soundtrack, and then I want to like smooth it out the next day, so it's always kind of constantly evolving and changing, and I don't like to put like too much of a label on myself of like if it's dark, heavy, or whatever, and I just say right in the middle. Like I can go either way. You never know what you're gonna get.
You've got a 3-show tour coming up in Australia. November 11th in Perth at Club Tetsuo, November 16 in Sydney at Factory Theatre, and November 17 at Melbourne Rubik's Warehouse. Now, ahead of that, I wanted to ask you a little bit about what goes into your live shows and perhaps what people can expect from it. Yes,
well, I try to tailor my live stuff to make it more dancier, groovier, and people can have a good time, have some drinks, enjoy themselves. But I've got live guitars that I'll be playing with live keyboard, synth, with a backing track, and then a video to go along with it all, and try to incorporate some fun things with the live show. But it's all me doing everything, and I am playing a couple instruments. Like I'll drop out if I'm not playing guitar, I'll have the keys, and then you might hear some guitars that I pre-did with it, to keep it the energy going, and then I might flip-flop it where I'm playing some live guitar and I'll have the keys going, so I kind of like prearrange things that way. But I do like visuals. I think they're a fun thing to have with the experience, and it's just supposed to be a lot of fun and good time, and to just kind of get in that fun, light mood for those nights and go crazy.
Now, I've been hearing that apparently they're going to resurrect a Robocop statue there in Detroit. And is it really going to happen or not?
Oh, I think it is going to happen. I see updates like slowly as they go along, like twice a year. And I've been hoping they'll be doing this for like the last 5 years. And they're working on it. It's going to be epic when it's done. And I think it's going to happen. I want to play live when they unveil it. When they do the drop, and they take the big curtain, they drop it. I want to be there with like the synth doing the soundtrack for it.
I think it's just so awesome that they're actually building a statue for it. I mean, it's one of my favorite movies growing up, and I just think it's just awesome. I mean, one of the things I think of when I think of Detroit is RoboCop. It always has been. I don't know, I watched RoboCop when I was pretty young, and that's just always been for me. Detroit is RoboCop,
That's fantastic. I bet you're not the only one either. And I think it's going to be sweet. I mean, why not? I've seen way worse sculptures in my life everywhere else, so why not make a badass RoboCop sculpture? And I think it would be a nice little tourist attraction too. Hey, we're going to be in Detroit for like a couple of days with this we got to go see the RoboCop sculpture, and then we can go do this while, you know what I mean? Like, why not? It's badass. But it's a status update. I will keep you updated, Mark.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so probably the last thing I would ask you about is another particular track on the album, and that's called Smolder. It is another one of my favorites on there. It's very smoldering, as the title suggests, but another standout track. It's a very unique sound on this one, I find.
Yeah, I really enjoyed making that track too, and I got inspired by like Paul Hardcastle with some of his tracks that were like Rainforest and like 19, and some of the things we had like these kind of like clapping rhythms that were kind of syncopated, and I used like some drum sounds I don't normally use, like just the 808 snares and stuff I layered in there. So with some other kind of dreamy, a lot of like delay stuff I put on there. So it's like it sounds weird when I use my mouth, but it was definitely inspired by that kind of like late or mid-late kind of electro sound that Paul Hardcastle was working on. And I kind of want to have my own little take on that, but I like the energy of it and the melody of in that song. I really like. You know, I think it's important in synthwave when you're not using a lot of vocals is to have little earworms or great melodies you can throw in there people can hum, and you know next time it'd be somewhat familiar. You know, I think melody is really important for me.
Yeah, that's a great track. I can definitely hear the influences of Paul Hardcastle through there as well. That's what I was getting to.
Yeah.
So you can check out Ross on his live tour coming up in November. And the venues and dates are November 11th in Perth at Club Tetsuo, November 16 in Sydney at Factory Theatre, and November 17 at Melbourne Rubik's Warehouse. The tickets are available at evanbright.com.au. So make sure you get your tickets now before they sell out. I'm really looking forward to seeing you soon, Ross, seeing your live show. Can't wait.
I can't wait to perform for you guys and hang out with you, Marco. It's going to be awesome.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for your time, Phaserland. See ya.
You are so welcome. Take care.